February 27th, 2021. Howie saw his primary care physician yesterday. And yes, that is the official Carole Baskin flower crown filter for Zoom. Yeah, Zoom did that on their own. I thought that was so cool. I have a mouse that's not working here. After his back surgery in early 2020, Howie went to physical therapy to do exercises with his feet. But when COVID-19 hit, it wasn't safe to do so. I became his physical therapist twice a day since April or so. For the past 2 months, his ankles and feet have been swelling and sometimes turning blue or even purple. As much as it freaks us both out, Howie hasn't been able to get an appointment with his primary care doctor until April of 2021, and the same has been true for his heart specialist. Marty Scheifel talked him into scheduling a $4,000 exam at the university, but upon further research, none of the tests they will be doing are particular to what Howie is facing right now, which is reduced blood flow, high blood pressure, and a sore on his foot that won't heal. Howie did go to a walk-in clinic 2 days ago, and despite them drawing blood and urine, they weren't much help, but to be able to bolster his self-esteem by asking for a selfie with the entire staff, socially distanced, of course. That caused Howie to put the pressure on his primary care doctor, and she worked him into a cancellation she had yesterday. Now she wants to send him for a blood dye CT scan, but Howie really hates needles, and now has had enough of them between the blood test and the antibiotic shot for the sore on his foot. Meanwhile, Howie also scheduled an appointment at the Mayo Clinic satellite office in Jacksonville, and we will be driving up March 16 and 17 in relation to his failed back surgery to see if anything can be done. One of our donors, Deborah Stonecipher, insists that they are the best when it comes to that sort of thing, and they are doing a great job of COVID-proofing their techniques. Howie has been on the list for his vaccine for weeks, and no one has called him back to schedule a time. His friends aren't having this problem, so I'm not sure if he's dragging his feet or if it's the universe telling us to wait and see what the side effects turn out to be. He's been pretty good about isolating, but I can't keep him from shopping despite all the service to your door apps, and yesterday he went to visit with Salim Ismail, who was in town for a conference. They sat outside, but Salim travels so much, I think he's pretty high risk. Think Factory got a written offer from Discovery. Hi, Carole and Howard. Just a quick update that we have finally received a deal from Discovery and are reviewing. We'll be in touch with you guys next week to discuss the next steps moving forward, but just wanted to let you guys know that we're moving things along. Hope you have a nice weekend. Tim Cohen-Laurie, Executive Producer, Think Factory Media. Chinese YouTube. Abby G from Digital Bridge Media says our first 2 videos have been posted to Bilibili and have gotten over 900,000 views. The way I read the site is more like 150,000 views, but regardless, that's pretty good right out of the gate. She writes, Dear Carole, we have distributed your first video this Wednesday on Bilibili. It has been doing really well and reached 900,000 views in a short time. However, the channel emerges many haters. It's mainly about Tiger King on Netflix and doubting the profit of Big Cat Rescue as a nonprofit organization. We immediately blocked and deleted negative comments. However, it is really harmful for your channel's growing. Just wondering if you can do a clarification to prove those are false. I believe most audience are rational, and they will still love this channel once they know the truth. Kind regards, Bridge Digital Media, Abby G, Managing Director. Her spelling is dreadful, so I'm hoping it is just because she's typing on a phone with her thumbs, and because English isn't her first language. Deb Quimby has taken on the challenge of answering questions in English and then using Google Translate to try and reach the Asian audience. I've asked her to try and identify some Chinese advocate early on that she can train to take over. This is a revenue source for us via advertising, but more importantly, a way to reach Asian cultures about protecting big cats rather than farming them for their parts. We have just been warned that we have to do that in a way that does not get us banned from the channels. There is a second channel called Ziguia as well. The Florida Wildlife Commission finally bans pythons. I couldn't resist the urge to tell them, told you so in 1993. when they announced after their virtual meeting that they voted unanimously to add green iguanas, pythons, tegu lizards, Nile monitors, and anacondas, 16 species in all, to the state list of prohibited species. Individual owners of the 16 prohibited reptiles will be allowed to keep those they already have if licensed, but will not be allowed to breed and sell them, explained Melissa Tucker, the director of the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission Division of Habitat and Species Conservation. They also banned the import of any deer-like species due to chronic wasting disease, but stupidly stopped short of allowing the import of those live species. Canned game hunting is still a big draw to the commissioners here, so it would seem. It was my work in 2007 to 2009 with the state legislature to ban pythons that ran me afoul of all the reptile dealers and presumably Eric Goode. I only cared about the bill because it added a $10,000 bond requirement to anyone possessing a Class 1 animal like lions, tigers, leopards, jaguars, cougars, etc. It took 2 years because even though the intent had been for the law to apply to anyone who possessed such animals, I think the FWC tried to carve out exceptions for their friends who had the cats as pets. So I had to go back and get the language changed from exhibit to possess. It had been a dirty trick on the part of the FWC to create a loophole for their friends to be able to just say they weren't exhibiting, when Florida law already required that the only way you could possess a Class 1 was as an exhibitor. If you're enjoying my diary, please like, share, and subscribe. You can find other ways to connect to me over at bigcatrescue.org/Carole.Baskin.